Hey y'all, welcome to the Filling Station. It's a new day, another opportunity to make money in the market or to just learn from the market, right? Let me give my disclaimer, y'all. I am not a financial advisor. I just enjoy teaching people how to build generational wealth, and the stock market is just one of those avenues. This video is for educational purposes only. With that being said, let's get started. So y'all, we are looking at the VIX, and as you can see, it reached 2136, which is not surprising considering, we had this 1956 as the high. Some information came out overnight last night or late last night, and it sent the VIX from let's say 1806 all the way up to 2136, which is very, very interesting. So we are declining now from that high that we made, which means the SPY should be going to the upside. The 5 and the 50 did cross. We're under the 5 EMA. Those are things that I look for. Right now, our support is right here at this 50 EMA at 1851. And if we break that area, we could very well come back down to this gathering spot because that's where we've been for a while. So I use that as my support now. It was resistance, which is at the 1803 down to the 1790. If we break where we are now, we could come back and test those levels. If we by chance should break those levels, then 1751 is our downside, 200 EMA to the downside for the VIX. And it is possible, again, I always say anything is possible. Trade what you see and allow your charts to show you and lead you, right? So let's look at the SPY. The SPY filled its gap to the downside. As you can see, y'all, it was trading sideways for a while, and I always say in a gathering zone or gathering spot. So we came down and tested this 492.20, and as you can see, I marked that level because something stopped it from going down, and I need to be mindful of what stopped it, right? Because it could very well come back and test this area. But if you can look at it now, this is our 4 o'clock candle. We created a gathering spot here from 4 o'clock until it actually started breaking out, which is here, so around closer to 6:30, 7 o'clock. And our support at that time was 497.01. Our resistance was at 498.19. It seems as if we are breaking out of that area above the 5 EMA, making higher highs, right? So this will be our breakout. We could have traded it from this point up moving forward. So right now, our 50 EMA was resistance. It's now support because that candle is above. Now, keep in mind, it still has a few minutes to close. It has not closed. We wait on the candle to close, right? So looking at this 5 and 50, looks like it's about to cross. So it wouldn't surprise me if the SPY, tried to come back up and test this 503.96, which is the 200 EMA on this 30-minute chart, because the 5 and 50 is crossing. Our MACD has already crossed. It's kind of not, it's moving, it's separating, but not as far as I like. I don't like to see them this close together, the lines this close together. Again, I am a visual learner, so I would definitely pay attention to my MACD and trading the SPY today to the upside. Keep in mind 503.96 is our 200 EMA on this 30-minute chart. So looking at it on the 1 hour, we have trouble here at this 50 EMA at $500.89. So we could very well come and test this, and get rejected, or we can test it and keep on going. And I always say anything is possible. Just keep in mind the 503.02 is a resistance area, as well as the 504.91 and the 505.79. So those are places that we could have trouble if we decide to try to make it all the way up to this 508.04. And keep in mind the SPY moves about $6.56 per day. So with the SPY, anything, and sometimes it exceeds that, like Tesla, right? Our 5 and 50 did cross, looking at it on this daily chart, to the downside, which kind of gave us a signal that we were going down. And again, we've already filled this gap and came down and found support here. So we're probably going back up to fill the gap that it would have created here. So it's kind of hard to tell how it's going to move at this point, and just pay attention to anything that's being said in the news today, because that can send us in either direction. Keep in mind, if we break this level of 492.20 on this daily chart, 471.84 is our 200 EMA, and anything is possible. So if you trade the SPY, I always say, trade carefully, allow your trades to come to you. Let's look at Tesla. Tesla is interesting, let me say that. So I'm going to go to the 30-minute chart for Tesla, because Tesla closed its gap to the downside, and we can see that through with the the dotted lines here, the white line here, and the white line here. So we came down and we filled that gap. Let me make sure yeah. So the white line here and the white line here was our gap that needed to be filled, and as you can see, we have closed that gap. Tesla came down and made a low of 145.30. Today it created a gathering spot for us, and that was at the 146.99, 146.99 as support, 147.55 as resistance. And it seemed to, it came down, made a low, and only to come back up and get above the 5 EMA. And right now it tested this 20 EMA, which is interesting because is it going to break through that, or is this our trouble place? 148.36. That's something to be mindful of. So Tesla will need to break this 148.36 in order to continue to the upside. And it seems like we're having trouble in this area, as you can see here. Again, I would say wait on the candle to close, and wait on other confirmations. Looking at this MACD, it shows that the MACD is crossing. It's trying to get to the upside, but it needs to confirm that it is moving to the upside. So the 149.76 is our ATR trailing stop. So that's a trouble place for us. We can test that, and come back down, or we can break through it. But keep in mind, if we break through, then the 150.71 is our 50 EMA here on this 30-minute chart. So there's a lot of other places that could be a little troublesome, let's say that, to the upside for Tesla. And I would say the 150.250, the 150.250, if we break above that, then there's some areas that could stop us out. But the 200 EMA is at the 159.15, and again, Tesla is one that exceeds its ATR to the upside. It moves $7.69. It can move well beyond that to the upside or to the downside. So if you trade Tesla, trade cautiously, trade carefully. Right now, this is our 5-minute chart. Our 5 and 50 crossed, our MACD crossed. So if we was trading, we would have, we could have entered here, somewhere around here, and traded it to the upside. So it looks like that 148.58. I need to remember that. And why is because something stopped Tesla at that place. It gave us a double top here. I need to watch this because it could come back to this area, or I need to remember it. We had trouble at this place before. If it comes back to this area, is it going to send us break through this time, or is this going to be an area of rejection for us? So that's why I say I need to watch that and pay attention to those areas. So NVIDIA is interesting as always, right? So NVIDIA gave us a support range here at 836.90, resistance at 840.54, and it seems to be breaking out of, it broke out of that gathering spot to the upside, right? So it got above our 5 and our 20 EMA. It seems like this 50 EMA here on this 30-minute chart is our trouble place. We're having trouble in this area, so it's kind of like creating another gathering spot for us. So I'd like to see NVIDIA above 849.24, or above the 850 range, 850.66. I would love to see it above this, in order to trade it to the upside. Right now our trouble place is at 858.19, which is the ATR trailing stop here, and the 200 EMA is at 863.32. So those are our trouble places for NVIDIA to the upside. Let's see if we have to the downside. It could possibly come back and retest this 824, and we can possibly test this area of 827.69. Those are places that we can, NVIDIA moves $34.13, and as you can see, this fluctuates because it was $32. It moves $34.13 per day. So anything is possible. Looking at this on the daily chart, NVIDIA has came down and tested this 50 EMA. So will it get rejected here on this 5 EMA at 857.72? Will it come back up and retest this, and get rejected, only to come back to the downside and find support at the 805.79? Or will we break through this 5 EMA and come back and retest this 20 EMA here, which is at 871.77. Again, I always say anything is possible, y'all. Trade what you see and make sure you have other confirmations. Looking at it on this 5-minute is creating us a gathering spot. We could very well come back to the downside, or we can continue to the upside. And right now it seems like we're under, it's under the 5 EMA. We still have a little bit more time on this candle. I always say, again, wait on the candle to close. So let's look at some inside day candles. If you trade Carvana is an inside day, and this is our, it created a gathering spot for us, right? So $69.78 is our support, $70.50 is our resistance, and that's right there at the 50 EMA. So it really needs to break above $70.66. So our range is just right here. So let's look at it to the downside. If Carvana breaks below this $69.25, then our target to the downside is $67.95. If it breaks above $73.25, then the target to the upside is $73.39, which is not far from this 200 EMA at $73.92. And if I'm not mistaken, it moves about $4.47. So Carvana moves $4.47 per day, and look how it is finding support at this ATR trailing stop. That's what's been stopping that or holding it up as support for ever since 415. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's been finding support here. If it breaks this to the downside, we can come down to 52.43. I always say it is possible, although it may take us some time to get to that place, considering it only moves $4.47 per day. So Google is another one that's an inside day for today, and Google moves $3.28 per day. Looking at it on this daily chart, we're right there at the 5 EMA, which is around the 157.22 area. So let's look at the triggers to the upside, meaning if Google breaks this point, which we've already broken past that trigger point and met that target to the downside. Okay, so if Google, when it broke past the 156.21, then our target to the downside was 156.14. We actually hit 155.65, which created us another gathering spot. So we've already met the downside target. Not saying that we can't come back to this area again, because we very well can. But right now it is above the 5 EMA, the 20 EMA, which is the red line here, and the 50 EMA, and it tested the 200 EMA on this 30-minute chart. So Google will need to break above, this 157.39. If it does, it could very well come back and test this 157.62 to the upside. So if it breaks above, to the upside 158.49, it gives us a target of 158.68. So I always say pay attention to those levels and trade what you see. I would normally set an alert to let me know, if it breaks above this ATR trailing stop, that we could very well, continue to the upside. And again, today is going to be interesting. Anything is possible. Watch your levels, trade what you see. The SPY is right here again at this 50 EMA at the 499.46. That is our support right now. And if it breaks that to the downside, then 499 will be the next support area. So I always say, y'all, I say this so many times in my video, trade what you see, because just, when we think that it's going to do something, it'll definitely send us a signal. Show us that no, it's not going to do that. So it seems like Tesla is having trouble with this 20 EMA on the 30-minute chart. So I need to be mindful of that, at 9:30 when the bell rings, that Tesla had trouble at this area. Even though we can come up and test this 149.76, I still need to remember this area here, right? So that's something to think about, y'all. I hope these videos are very, very helpful. I try to go over and look at how I see things when I look at the market. And yeah, today's going to be a great day. I hope that everyone have a very, very profitable day. Pay attention to your charts, pay attention to your trades. And when you have signals to get out, set your stop loss, or just get out really, really quickly. Either or, you need to have some type of, some type of get out, stop. I need to get out of this trade. It's best to get out and lose a little versus blow your whole account. That's something to be mindful of. So y'all, I hope that again everyone have a very, very awesome day. Awesome day. It's Friday. The options are cheaper today, and you can go in and make some decent money. Get in, get out. I always say I'm grateful and not greedy. So whatever the market gives, I'm grateful at that, right? So y'all, I'm look. I always like to leave you with this, but before I say that, I hope that everyone would just like, comment, share, subscribe, and all of that good stuff, y'all. Yeah, that's very, very helpful and very supportive for me. And I always say this: be blessed, y'all, as well as a blessing unto others. Until next time.